everyone, welcome back to ErikaBuilds and another Sims 4 speed build. Today we are in the world of Willow Creek working on a home on a 50 by 50 lot, and it is based off of a photo that I found on Instagram, and the account is called Builders of Instagram. I highly recommend it if you're a builder and you're looking for pictures because they have gorgeous houses on that account. I'm constantly saving pictures from there, and I was scrolling through there the other day and I saw this house and I was like, oh, I've got to build this house. It's so cool. And this is actually my first video of 2020. In case you were missing me, I've been kind of MIA over the holidays, and but I knew I was going to be back. I just wasn't really sure when it was going to be. But I thought this house would be a good time to dust off the channel and make a video for you guys. So basically, to kind of catch you up on things, over the holidays, I basically was not really having a lot of time to play The Sims at all. And so I had a lot of company. My mom came for Thanksgiving and ended up staying for 3 weeks. And that was unexpected. And then, the kids were out of school. And so all during Christmas and New Year's, it was just chaos here and noisy and crowded and a million kids running around. And anyway, it was just not conducive to making videos. And so I kind of had in the back of my mind the whole time, okay, once everything calms down and gets quiet again, I will go back and do a speed build. But there were a few houses that I had a chance to build over Christmas when I could just kind of sneak in some playing time. So I'll tell you about those in just a second. But first, just talking about this house today, like I said, it's from a picture of a real house, which I'm showing to you now. This is the picture that I found on Instagram. And this house didn't really look like anything that I'd built before. It's very traditional, sort of upscale suburban type of house, but it didn't really have a rustic feel. It didn't really have a coastal feel or a mountain home type feel. It didn't really have any of those sort of go-to themes that I usually work with when I'm building. And so I kind of just stared at this picture for a long time because at first I couldn't figure out if this was the back of the house or the front of the house. And at first I thought, well, it's got to be the front because there's this huge concrete, look like driveway to me, that would be leading, from the street. So I thought this has got to be the front. But then as I looked closer, I noticed that this sort of driveway, there was no garage or garage door. There's a small door that leads to living space because you could see furniture in there and lamps and stuff. I'm like, okay, that's definitely not a garage. And so I decided that I think what it was, because this house didn't have any other photos from any other angles, just this one picture. I'm assuming that it has a detached garage that's just not visible in the picture. That's the only thing I could figure, because on the existing structure that I was looking at in the photo, there definitely was no garage. So I decided, well, since I don't really need a garage in The Sims anyway, I'm just gonna forget the garage because I didn't know what it looked like and it was just kind of a guess. And so no garage in this house. But there's plenty of room on this 50 by 50 lot to add more things. If you really want to make a detached garage, you could make one kind of on the front side. It wouldn't really be that hard to do. Okay, so the next thing I had to try to figure out was how in the world I was going to replicate these windows, because we don't have any windows like this in the game. And you might have noticed a minute ago, and I ended up cutting a lot of footage out because I tried a billion different kinds of windows and none of them looked good. I think I started with seasons, and then I moved to just a modern sort of plain glass window that didn't have any grids, but that just did not match the feel of the house, because the house to me doesn't have a modern look to it. And so the plain windows were just way out of character. So I ended up going with these windows from Cats and Dogs, which I think are about as close as you're going to get. The reason I picked these is, number one, they were available in white and they had grids, which I thought was important to kind of stick with what we had in the game. And I think the theme of these windows is very suburban and traditional. So I had to get kind of creative because we don't have any Cats and Dogs windows that are tall. And as you know, we can't like stack windows on top of each other in the game. And so what I ended up doing was making kind of like these faux transoms by adding them to the second floor, like at the floor level. They look a little weird inside the house, but I kind of blocked them with like plants and curtains. You'll see more of that in a minute. So I ended up doing this as like a trick to make those windows in the front look like they had transoms over the top. And then there were a lot of really cool features about this house. Number one, I really love how they had this trellis entrance on the side of the house, which I'm guessing is the front door. I really can't tell, but I've decided to make that the front door on the side. And then there's this other trellis area you're seeing here now that has an outdoor fireplace, which I love outdoor fireplaces, and I put them in a lot of my builds. I think they're so cool. And so that really caught my eye. And so these trellises are in the game like already as one complete unit, which is so nice. I didn't have to build one. So I used two of those, and now you can see the house is starting to take shape. It's kind of funny though, because there's no back, so it's just like all cut off on the back. But this is how it always goes with replicating. Anytime I'm trying to recreate a house from a picture, you know, I've only got so much information to work with. So basically I did like the whole front, and I'm constantly, you know, looking back and forth between my screen and the photo and trying to get it as close as I can. And then once I get the front done, then I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the back. And I've mentioned this before, I don't have a lot of confidence when it comes to being creative in the back of a house when I already have the front, because I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I actually still am not even sure if that is the back of the house. So what I decided to do is kind of mirror the back a little bit to the front, so it kind of had the same sort of shape to it. And then there were all of these walls, these half walls, which I started with fencing, and then I found the fencing was a little bit too tall, and plus I couldn't really find a brick that I liked. So I ended up doing a ton of half walls going along the driveway, the walkway to the front entrance, the walkway to the side entrance, and then just covering it with brick wallpaper, which turned out to look way nicer than using fencing. I mean, you could use fencing if you wanted to, but I don't know. I wasn't really finding anything that matched. And this is the other thing that was difficult. This house had very much like continuity across the whole front, where the stone, and then the stone like merged from the house into this big front deck, and then down the stairs into these walkways is like one big continuous, you know, unit. And so I was like, I really wanted to try to do that, even though I knew I couldn't, because in our game, you know, we only have like set railings that we can choose from. So I ended up just going with like some plain white concrete railings, and then I kind of blended those into the half walls. And then I started with brick, as you're seeing now. But then I ended up changing it to stone, and I think it looks so much better. The brick was pretty, but it was making the house look a little bit too upscale, a little bit too mansion, sort of like, I don't know. It just wasn't vibing with like the siding and kind of the feel for the house, because this house has more of almost like a Brindleton Bay sort of vibe to it a little bit. And so I ended up changing the brick to like flagstone, which I think looks way, way better. I will say for the 25th thousand gajillionth time, can we please have more stone? Can we please have more siding and more stone? It's so funny because I feel like we've gotten so much furniture, which is great. I'm very excited to have new furniture. And every time we get a new pack and we get new furniture, it's great. But like, do they forget about stone? Like, we really, really need more stone. We need more stone, and we need shingled siding, like big cedar shingle siding. We need those things really badly. And I know I say that all the time, but I just put it out there into the universe and hope that somebody is listening, that we can get some more, please. Because that's one hard thing about replicate. Well, there's a million hard things about replicating, but probably one of the hardest is windows and siding and trying to find ones that will match. Yeah, so the house is pretty much done now on the outside, sort of, enough where I could work on the inside now. And I cut some of this floor planning out because it took me a really long time. From what I could tell of the real house, looking through the windows, it had a very, very open floor plan. And so I wanted to keep the main two living areas very, very, very open with not very many walls. And then of course, upstairs for the bedrooms, it's more of like standard, floor planning. But for the first two levels, it was very, very open. And so I decided to make this sort of like giant staircase. It was double wide with two turns, almost like a spiral. You're seeing it now. And normally I would never take up this much space in a house for stairs. I mean, I don't know how many squares this is. It's like 10 by 10. It's huge. But I had a lot of space to work with. I knew that if I was gonna ever be able to do some kind of staircase like this would really be a good house to do it because of all the extra space that I need to eat up. So I ended up doing this big sort of turning spiraling staircase in the middle of the room, which still kept the open floor plan, but it kind of just, I don't know, like the hard thing with open floor plans is a lot of times they just look like a big, square cave. It just doesn't have any shape or character. And so I think adding the stairs in the middle did help a little bit. And then here, I'm just working on the walkout basement, which, as you know, it's not really a basement. It's a first floor, but the way I've raised the train and kind of made it look like a basement. And then I kind of pulled that second floor, which is actually the first floor, over top of it and made sort of like a little covered deck with more stairs. This house has a lot of stairs. There are stairs, two different staircases in the front to entrances. There's a big staircase in the back, and then of course that giant staircase in the middle of the house. So yeah, there's stairs everywhere. But again, I'm getting all of these ideas from looking at the reference photo. And there's lots of concrete in this house too. So much so that I kind of ran out of ideas of what to do with all of this patio space. But that's one good thing about this house. If you download this from the gallery, which it is available in the gallery, there's definitely a lot of room to add your own, personal touches or your family's hobbies or interests or whatever, because it's a giant lot and there's a lot of space. Okay, so now we're back here on this first floor, second floor, main floor. And what I decided to do here was just a big open concept kitchen and dining room area, all open to one another. And I went with blue, mainly because with the outside of the house being white and gray, I wanted to keep that kind of cool tones on the interior as well. I've talked about this before, but a lot of times the exterior of the house will set the theme for the interior. And to me, I don't want to see a house that has like a white brick or white stone exterior trimmed in white wood with like a brown wood interior. To me, that doesn't make any sense. So, I always want to make sure that the inside and the outside complement each other. And I started with these bright aqua cabinets that are from Parenthood, but I ended up swapping those out, here you'll see now, to the white, just because the blues were not really matching as well as I wanted them to. The curtains and the rug kind of had this more, I don't know what kind of blue you would call that. It's not a navy blue. It's brighter than that. Anyway, the aqua sort of blue cabinets I thought were kind of clashing. So I switched those to white, and then I did the blue appliances, which I thought looked nice. And the wallpaper is from Parenthood. It's nice because this particular swatch comes with paint and with tile. So you get that same wainscoting at the bottom, but just with tile and paint allows you to kind of use that same wallpaper in one room without having to divide it with walls. Plus, I think the Parenthood cabinets and appliances look really nice when you mix it with the cats and dogs table and chairs and bar stools and stuff. Those are very complimentary. And over here, I ended up having sort of like this, I don't know, it's kind of like a hallway area between the kitchen and the back door. And so I put a chest set there because I didn't really have room for much. And so it just kind of happened to be the item that would fit in that small space. And then over here on the side, which is where I actually am calling this the front door, even though it's on the side of the house, I wanted to do sort of like an indoor porch area. Not really a porch though, because it's inside, like it's open to the house, but it's kind of like a porch just in the fact that I use like the wicker furniture with lots of plants, and there's a ceiling fan there, and it just kind of feels like a place where you could just sort of sit and relax. And since the living room is on the first floor, this is kind of really the only sitting area that's on the same level as the kitchen and the dining room. So it's kind of nice. It's very bright and floral and, you know, just kind of a little reading area. The furniture is from Laundry Day, which looks really, really good with cats and dogs and Parenthood. Those 3 packs I always use together. And so I put some flowers here and that wreath, and I don't know, it kind of has a little bit of a country sort of feel to it, which I like. And then on the opposite side, I decided to make that a little family computer area, sort of like an office. If you wanted it to be more private, you could easily put a wall there with a door or an archway or something if you wanted the office to be you know, more separated. But like I said, this floor plan is very open, and so there's no wall here. It's just all open to the front entrance as you first come into the house. And here I was just adding some bookshelves and a little like accent table. Again, this is from Cats and Dogs. Most of the furniture on this level is all white. I think it looks nice with the very light blue paint. In fact, you can't even really tell it's blue, but I think it's blue. It's either blue or like a kind of a grayish blue, which looks really nice with the floorboards from Cats and Dogs that have the dark gray with the blue mixed in. And then this computer desk and chair is actually base game. As I mentioned earlier, I did build a few houses over Christmas break. I I didn't make any videos for those because, like I said, it was so noisy here. There was no way I could have done any voice recording. But I did manage to do a few things to put in the gallery. So if you want to check those out, my ID is ErikaBuilds. And I did a Christmas house, which is just kind of like a standard 2-story family home, but I just put a lot of Christmas decorations and Christmas lights and stuff on it. And then I did another big family house. I believe the title of it in the gallery is Cluttered Family Home. I went really over the top with clutter. Not clutter to the point of like being dirty or messy. It's still neat and clean, but it just has a lot of clutter. So if you like a cluttered house, definitely go check it out. Especially the kitchen. I think I covered every wall in the kitchen with something. It was kind of fun. I was definitely building that house on a day where I needed to just like de-stress from family drama. And so, building in The Sims is always my own personal therapy. So you can check that out. And then I also built a house. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard of this TV show, but it's on Netflix and it's called The Untamed. It's a Chinese drama. When you finish watching this video, you need to drop everything and go watch it. I started watching it and I ended up binging the whole 50 episodes in like 3 days. It was so good. You guys, just please go watch The Untamed on Netflix. If you don't have Netflix, it's actually also on YouTube. Not illegally. It's actually legally available for free on YouTube. So you can watch it there if you don't have Netflix. The Netflix one is nice though because there's no ads or commercials or anything, and like the quality I feel like on Netflix is a little better. But anyway, I can get off on this subject for hours. But I built a house from that show. And it's also in the gallery. So definitely check it out. It's just a really amazing show. It's based on a novel, which I've also read. And there's also an animated version of the show that's really good. But anyway, I could talk about it for hours, but it's really good. So go and watch that. And anyway, so we're here still working in the kitchen. This video is so long. I'm sorry. It was funny when I sat down to make this. I'm like, I'm just going to make a short video. It's going to be like 15 minutes. Now, of course, it's 40 minutes. I'm really sorry about that. But these houses are so gigantic. I mean, especially working on a 50 by 50, even cutting out like tons of stuff, it still was so long. So I apologize. You can always pause and take a break and come back and finish this up later. But also another weird thing that happened over the holidays is my Adobe Premiere was not working, and I updated it and I updated it again and I checked everything, and then I thought it was my computer, and I like updated all my drivers, and then I thought it was my Sims game, and I ended up like deleting it and re-adding it, and I spent days just like updating and reinstalling. Oh, and then I thought maybe it was my reshade, so I uninstalled and reinstalled that, and I spent days trying to figure out what in the world was wrong. So I've been having all kinds of weird computer issues. So that also played into my hiatus here from the channel. Do you guys have problems with your Sims game, or is it just me? Because I feel like my game is cursed. Like all the time when I'm building, things will just vanish. Like when I was working on this house, I felt like it was haunted. Like I would put something somewhere and then like 5 minutes later it wouldn't be there. And I know I put it there and it was gone. So bizarre. I don't know why that happens. This particular house, I had this weird issue with the roof where I kept fixing the roof, and then it was like making that weird sort of like dark black shadow on like the edge of the roof line, and I'm like, what is wrong? And so I like took the entire roof off and rebuilt it like twice. And then finally I just kind of like rage quit the game the other night, and then I came back the next day and I started up, and the shadow was gone, and I don't know what caused it, but it's gone now. So hopefully if you download this house from the gallery, that crazy, weird, haunted shadow on the roof will not be there. But I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like this kind of stuff happens to me all the time. Oh, I know what. Another thing that happened with this house, I was putting some like exterior vents, you know, those little square vents that we can put on the roof. I was putting one of those on and it kept disappearing, and I would place it and I would come back and it was gone. And I was like, well, is it on the other side of the roof? Is it inside the roof? I couldn't find it. So finally I just was like, forget it. I don't know why. It won't work. And so weird glitchy things like that happen to me all the time. I don't know why. I mean, I don't think it's my computer. My computer that I don't really have any like computer issues or like compatibility issues with the game. So I don't know what's going on. I even think to myself, how does anybody play The Sims who isn't like a computer genius? I feel like you have to know everything about computers just to keep your game like functioning. Anyway, back on the topic of the house, here is my little bike garage is what I'm calling it, because it's not big enough for a car. It's just a small garage for a bike, and I put the trash cans in here and like some different kind of garage decor, which I thought turned out kind of cute. I don't know what this was in the real house. I know there was an archway and it was open. I'm guessing it was probably another entrance, but I didn't really think I needed another entrance because there was an entrance literally like an inch away. So I'm like, I'll just make this into like this little bike area. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny. Now, this bedroom you're seeing now originally was going to be the master. And then I got to thinking that this would be a really good place for like a teen or like a college student, because it's down here on the first floor. There's no other bedrooms on this level, so it's super private. And I kind of thought, since there was a toddler in this family, maybe it would make more sense for the parents to be upstairs by the toddler. So that's why I ended up doing it this way. So this is kind of like my teen / young adult college student bedroom. And it's very private. They have their own entrance here, which is nice. And yeah, so if you had an adult child in your family, I think they would like this room, or you could turn this into the master if you prefer. That would work as well. And this is a mixture of like a bunch of weird packs. The desk is from City Living. The bed is Base Game. The nightstand is from Parenthood. The chair is from Discover University. I think the carpet's also from Discover University. So there's a bunch of different packs going on in here. Oh, the wallpaper, also University. I will admit I haven't had a lot of time to play with University, like actual gameplay, because when I got it, it was right before like kind of bedlam broke out here with like all my company that came to visit. But I did play with it a little bit and I thought it was fun. I went into a dorm and like I didn't put any of my Sims in college. I just went into the dorm and just like played as just a random Sim. And it was so funny because all of the Sims that lived in that dorm room, I think there were 8 of them, had the evil trait. And I was like, okay, somebody at the Sims team has got a really good sense of humor, because isn't that the way it would happen? You would end up in like an 8-person dorm room with like 7 people who are evil. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I need to get back in there and actually send some of my Sims to college. I haven't done that yet. But I just haven't had time. And yesterday I saw the live stream for the new Tiny Living stuff pack, which I really think is great. I don't know what the problem is. I know there was like some kind of discourse, or people were not happy, or I don't know, maybe something about bunk beds or something. I don't know. I thought it was really cute. I love the Murphy bed. I love that it's a new death. I think that's hilarious. I like the decor we got. The only thing that I would say that's kind of a negative is I feel like all the furniture we've gotten over like the last year and a half has all been modern. Like, can we please get some more rustic or like family type furniture? Because I mean, on the good side, the plus side, all of it's really like mixable because if you look at Discover University and you look at this tiny living stuff and Get Famous, and I think there was another one that came out this year. I can't even remember over the past year. They all have this sort of like mid-century modern sort of IKEA look to it, which is cool because you can use it all and kind of blend it together and stuff, which is nice. But now I feel like we have enough of that. So I hope that the next pack that comes out, we can branch away from that modern look and maybe get some more I don't know, maybe more rustic or maybe something we don't even have. I don't know. But yeah, I just feel like we've got plenty of that type of furniture now. But it's good. I'm not going to complain. I'm always happy when we have new decor and new furniture to work with. Here on the upstairs, you can see I kind of skipped a bunch of stuff here because the video was so long. But you can see there on the right side of the screen, that's the master bedroom that was originally going to be the teen, and then I changed it to the master so they could be next to the toddler, which I thought was pretty convenient. The toddler room is pretty standard, you know, bed and toddler building blocks, and there's a dollhouse and you know, all the little things that toddlers need. And then there's also 2 kids' bedrooms up here that have a Jack and Jill bath. So this family has a total of 4 kids. And of course you could have 1 or 2 parents. So that would be 6. And then I put some pet stuff. So yeah, it's plenty of room for a full, you know, 7 or 8 sim family, which is kind of standard for me. I feel like all the houses I've been building lately have been for like 6 or 8 sims. I'm going to challenge myself when this tiny living pack comes out in a couple of days. I'm going to really try. I've only done 1 tiny house on the channel. I did it, I think it was last summer or last spring. I don't know. You can go back and look at it if you want to. It actually is really, really cute. But I need to do more. I don't know why. Every time I sit down to build, I end up building these gigantic monstrosities. So I'm really going to try to do some tiny homes, which I think will actually be fun because they're not going to be as time consuming. Although for me, I never really mind that these houses take me a couple of days because I just kind of get in the zone, you know. It's like I've got my music on and I'm just building and decorating and doing landscaping and I'm just totally just zoned out. And so with the tiny living, it's definitely going to be different for me because they're not going to be as, you know, big and complex with as much to do. So yeah, but it'll be fun. It'll be challenging. So I will definitely be trying to think of some tiny houses that I can build. So for these 2 kids' rooms, they're very pastel and bright colors. Like I said earlier, you know, this whole house definitely has the vibe of like cool tones with lots of pastels and blues and whites. And so I wanted the bedrooms to also, you know, match with that theme. And, you know, they're just standard bed, dresser, desk, toy box type things. But, you know, this house is so big and there's so much extra space everywhere that you could literally add anything that you want. There's probably enough room in the yard to put a skating rink if you wanted to. I ended up putting that giant pirate ship play set back there, and I put the telescope back there, and there's a giant pool and a hot tub. So, and then there's a garden, and there was still more space. So yeah, plenty of room to add any kind of activities that you want your family to be able to do. Actually, you could probably put this house on a smaller lot if you go in. Of course, you always have to have move objects enabled anytime you place any house that I build. But if you went to a lot that was maybe like a 40 by 40, maybe that one in Brindleton Bay might work. Yeah, you might be able to use this house on a smaller lot. Probably what would happen is a lot of the landscaping and the trees and the pool and stuff would probably just fall off when you place it. But the house itself probably wouldn't need to take up that much space. I don't know. I haven't tried it out, but maybe I'll try it out and see. I really like this bedroom, this sort of blue and white cloud themed bed. I think looks really nice with this blue carpet from Discovery University with the gingham wallpaper. I just feel like it's very fresh and clean and pretty, so I like how that turned out. Just to remind you, since it's been a long time, you can find pictures of all my builds and my reference photos on my Instagram account. And that account is ErikaBuilds, and I always usually put at least one work in progress picture. And when it's a real house, I usually always put the picture of the house as well. Here I've just slowed down the camera to give you a look at the landscaping, which I did off camera because it took like a whole day. But basically, yeah, there's a giant pool. There's a pond in the front that I made. I didn't put a fishing sign there, but you could add fish if you want to fish. And then these gigantic trees that you're seeing in the backyard, those are from the Debug catalog, and they're actually, if you look, they are the exact same trees that are right behind this lot, which worked out perfectly. So I was excited about that. So yeah, I hope you guys like this house. Please let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will be back again soon with another house. So I will see you then. Have a great day. Bye-bye.